So the Miami Dolphins had their second of two practices with the rough and tough Detroit Lions today, Thursday, August the 14th. Isaiah Smalls is here to tell us how they did. On Wednesday, the Miami Dolphins struggled offensively and defensively, getting pretty much dominated by the Detroit Lions, which most people should realize is probably a top 5 team in the NFL based on what they did last season. Definitely. Dolphins clearly are not a top 5 team in the NFL, but the hope was that they would go into this joint practice and get a little bit of respect. Isaiah, did the Miami Dolphins do that?
I think today they earned a lot more respect, right? Because let me paint you a picture, right? I think one of the things that people fail to remember is that there's a lot of injuries, right? And so when you think about all the injuries that the Dolphins have,
I ain't trying to hear that.
Look,
I ain't trying to hear that. I know they're
trying to hear.
I know they're down 6 offensive linemen, and Tyreek Hill isn't practicing because he's got no bleed. Is Jalen Waddle okay? We don't have Darren Waller. Austin Jackson is out. Oh, Chop hurt his ribs. Oh, Jalen is nursing his bruised calf. Oh, now we had Zach Sealer sitting out. Ain't nobody trying to hear none of that. Everybody
I hear you. I understand. But I think what stood out to me today is because they had these injuries, right? I wasn't expecting much. I was expecting more of the same of yesterday. And to be honest, they look sharp, right? Especially
offensively or defensively.
Offensively, this is what happened. Offensively, at the beginning, they looked sharp. It kind of tailed off towards the end. However, I feel like it was the opposite with the defense, right? Obviously Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams kind of did their work, right? Like the Dolphins, in my opinion, they need to go get some more corners. Will they do that? I don't know. But
so hold on. Who didn't hold up?
I mean, it was everybody. You're gonna see my stock report. Everybody. I listed the entire cornerback group as a stock down because after Jack Jones got roasted yesterday, they didn't really have him out there today, right?
Okay.
Not all right. Much.
Was it a storm? Was it a storm? Here's my thing about the Jack Jones situation.
Go ahead.
And just hear me out, okay? That got history with Amon-Ra. Okay, great. But why is Storm Duck not covering the best receiver that the Lions have? Is Storm Duck all of a sudden not up to the standard? What's going on? What about Kenneth Sheffield? He was out there as a starter from OTAs. Made the team as a rookie camp tryout. Jumped to the starting unit. Cam Smith can't even do that. But all of a sudden, we facing a good wide receiving core. 2 starters sitting, running second team. What's up with that?
I think, and again, this is something that McDaniel has consistently said, right? They like to put players in adverse positions, right? They want to see how you respond to adversity, right? And whether or not, and that's frankly what they did, right? They had Jack Jones out there yesterday, saw what he could do. Today,
this man did not call for Amon-Ra. He didn't call for him, St. Brown.
You're talking about Jack Jones or Storm?
Set him up for failure, huh?
You're talking about Storm or Jack Jones?
Jack Jones.
Oh yeah, he did call. I'm sure you called for that. I'm sure you made that call.
Y'all need to have asked him because that looked a little personal right there. That looked like they wanted to see how you responded to getting roasted all day.
Probably was, and probably wasn't the best response from him because it didn't really stop. I think today it was more of a rotation in there at corner, right? So the reason why I give to the entire group is, Cornell, Armstrong, got dusted apparently in the red zones, right? By Amon-Ra, with Amon-Ra versus Storm Duck. It was a little bit closer. Amon-Ra still made the play, but he had to go over Storm again. And then the big play that is, that I saw from the other few was just J-Mo just going deep on Kendall Sheffield. And then I look up and all I see is JMO, 6 touchdown, and Kendall Sheffield behind him. Now,
11 on
I
11s?
didn't see,
That 11 on 11s, 7 on
that
7s.
that was, I believe, 7-on-7.
Okay.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. That one I believe was 11s. Excuse me. That one was 11.
Okay. I'm about to
That
say.
was 11.
Okay.
That was 11.
Yeah,
And
then it counts.
so, yeah,
You
that
get
definitely
you
counts.
get housed in 11 on 11s. It count. What was the
And
second?
and again, go watch that play that I put up. It was, Kendall was in his mug, man to man, mano y mano, and just routed up. And then Effie tried to come help over top, but you could tell it looked like Effie kind of pulled up a little bit when I was watching the clip, because I didn't even see Effie in when I just saw it with my eyes. I saw it in the clip, and I was like, okay, I guess Effie was there, but I mean, it looked like he pulled up. So again, entire cornerback group today is getting the stock down for me because I mean, at the end of the day, and I don't necessarily think it's their fault as much as like. I mean, there's levels. There's levels to this talent stuff, right? And we can debate until we're blue in the face about
one is up here, one is down. They are down here.
We can debate till we're blue in the face on where the Lions stack up in terms of the teams in the NFL, but we do know that their receiving core is at the very least top 3, top 5, maybe.
Top 5, maybe, yeah.
And so,
yeah. I haven't done the math, but
but it's up there. I mean,
I would put it ahead of the Dolphins. So yeah,
I think the one of the things that I was just when I was talking to my dad about it yesterday, and the thing that really stood out to me is, of course, you hear from the defensive coordinator, from the cornerbacks coach, that these guys are getting great work in practice. The corners are getting great work in practice versus Tyreek versus Waddle. However, as I said last year in my story, the Dolphins have the smallest receiving core in the NFL, right? So as much as good work you're getting against these guys, the fact of the matter remains that they're smaller, and most of the receivers that you will see on that outside are not going to be that height. And so when you have to deal with a bigger guy, I mean, there's just things that you don't necessarily are repping consistently in practice, just because you can use your size a little, not to call Waddle and Tyreek, small, like, weak or anything, right? Like Tyreek is very strong. Like I'm not saying that he's a weak guy, but I'm just saying, if you are physically bigger than somebody, right, and you're playing cornerback and you're going to try to make a play on them, you have more of an opportunity to run through a guy that is a little bit smaller.
I don't think any of those cornerbacks are bigger than Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Jason Marshall Jr. That's the only one.
Yeah, definitely. But you don't think Storm Duck is? You don't think he's taller? Storm Duck is taller than that. Okay, I mean, you can. I disagree with you.
We're splitting hairs about like an inch. Storm is 6'10". They're all 5'10". Okay, 2 inches.
And wait. Let's back up a second. We know that those heights aren't 100% accurate. We know where.
Well, Storm ain't 6'1". Okay. Hold on. Tyreek is legit 5'10". They are Jalen Waddle and Tyreek. We're all the same size. I'm 5'10". We're all the same size. Okay. So and basically the whole unit is DS all of them the same size.
Yep.
Yeah, 5'9", 5'10". Malik is a little bit smaller at 5'8". The other one, which one? Taj? Taj is not no 5'10". Anyway, sorry, my bad. So tell me the positives. Tell me the positives, because we beating up this Dolphins team, saying that they got punked against. They didn't get punked. They kind of got bullied against the Bears. They got punked yesterday against the Lions. Last week.
I don't. And maybe they have a better description of it, but I don't necessarily think that they got punked yesterday. I just think that, and maybe they did. I just thought that it was just one team was just better than the other yesterday.
It was too many Lions reporters like, yo,
yeah,
bad.
I just think one team was
walk away from a joint practice and say, yo, they bad over there, because we know what we looking at, and them dudes over there, they not good.
Yeah. But the positive to me, and something that I wanted to, what I tried to bring up earlier in the pod, was that when it mattered most, right, at the end of practice, when you're in the situational period, it was quite simply, they start at the 50-yard line,
Okay.
You have a minute to score, right? When they were in that period.
How many timeouts you get?
I don't think that zero timeouts. There were zero timeouts. You had to score.
You had to spike it?
Spike it. Exactly.
Okay. All right.
In that period,
okay,
the defense won it as far as I'm concerned. Right?
How many? So starters get 1 rep, backups get 1 rep, and 13.
No, it was just the starters. It was just the starters.
Just the starters. Man,
yeah,
what's going on with this? Okay. Anyway, all right. So the starters get 1 rep, and what they do?
And so the offense 4 and out. I will say this: that Miami's the last offense. Miami's offense 4 and out. I will say this: the last play, which was a throw to Tarek Black. To me, it looked like a PI. To a lot of the other Dolphins writers, it looked like a PI.
To Tariq Black?
Yeah, there was no Tua. And again, I want to point this out.
Hold on, there was no Tua. Wait, what did you say?
Wait. I said there's no Tyreek. There's no Tyreek. There's no Tyreek.
I know, but Tariq Black is like down there.
I will say that, look, that's what I'm saying. The stock report, he had a good day today. He was one of my top performers today. I'll say this. He started his day with a touchdown in the red zone, right?
In what?
7 on 7. 7 on 7.
Okay, 7 on 7.
Then proceeded to draw back-to-back PIs in the red zone.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Then
red zone work? Was it red zone work?
Yeah, it was still 7 on 7. Still 7 on 7.
But we doing red. We starting from 20?
Yes.
Okay.
Then when we got to the team period, and this is what surprised me, he caught a screen, a rocket screen, a very basic rocket screen. He took that John 20 yards.
Okay.
And so
I bet you the screen was to the left side.
To the right side, actually.
Oh, who's blocking?
I couldn't see. Because the way that the field is standing, and I got a lot of hate on Twitter because people are like, "How can you not see this player and this player?" First of all, the Lions did not have their names on the back of their jerseys. They need to fix that ASAP. They did not have the names on their jerseys. And I made the mistake yesterday of grabbing the alphabetical order instead of the numerical one. And so there was a few names that I'm looking at the numbers and I'm just like, okay, I think it's this. Boom, and I'll put it out.
Just write down next time. Just write down the number, okay, and you can figure it out later.
Exactly. So I personally, I was impressed with Tarek Black, and so now let's fast forward to the end of practice. Fourth down, looked like a slant to him. And he got pushed in the back. Clearly, refs didn't call it. He gets up like this. I look at the other writers. I'm like, that's PI, right? They said yes. Unfortunately, 4th down plays over. Now, what stood out the most to me, right, was the defense. Because, again, they had every reason to wilt. No Zach Sealer, no Jalen Phillips. I mean, they could have folded, right?
That's only 2 starters.
All right, but that's your pass rush. And that's part of the reason why them corners might have been getting cooked today because they didn't have no pass rush.
How much did Chop Robinson work?
Again, opposite fields. I was on offense today. We switched.
Okay. All right.
And so, but there wasn't any sort of concern about his workload. Like that wasn't one of the things that came back to me. It wasn't like, oh, he didn't play as much, as was the case with Waddle yesterday. Waddle today, full workload. And so the thing that stood out to me was as they're driving, right, the defense stepped up, right? Minka and Matthew Butler combined for a sack, right? Storm Duck had a great PBU on a pass intended for Cleve Raymond that, Raymond was by him, was kind of a little bit behind him. The ball was a little bit underthrown, but it gave Storm enough time to kind of just jump up one hand and tip the ball, right? So that was a great play. Like I said, the sack, and then the final play, right? Because they, again, when you have Jared Goff, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sometimes that connection is just perfect. They connected on a 20-yard pass that got the ball, I think, to like the 15-yard line. Then after that, locked down. And I was pleasantly surprised. The period ended with Goff aiming for the end zone and Iffy almost coming down with a pick. He should have. He beat himself up afterwards. I asked him about the play afterwards. How did it feel to kind of get that PBU on your team? And his response was, it felt good, but at the same time, I'm pissed because I wanted the pick. And so when you see that, right? And granted, again, I'm on the other side, mainly watching the offense, right? But you look over, you glance over the defense, and it's like, dang, like corners getting roasted, guys are getting. You talk back to the offense, you talk back to the people that were watching the defense, and they're like, kind of more of the same from yesterday. Not as bad, but definitely kind of bad. And so to me, I think the defense, off the Dolphins offense, to me, it was about even with the Lions defense. About even. The defense, Dolphins versus Lions offense, that swings a little bit more in the Lions direction, right? But again, there's elite players over there, right? And so I say all this to say it was a much better performance because guys actually came out and competed. And hold on, let me back up. I haven't even said the play of the day yet. D. Eskridge made a phenomenal catch earlier today on DJ Reed, jumped up. First of all, did not know he had hops like that. Jumped up over him and was able to secure the ball in the back of the end zone. It was one of those plays that you look at and you're just like, whoa, where has that been? But then also you could tell that it galvanized the team, which I think it was important, right?
From Tua?
Yeah, from Tua. The entire offense seemingly ran down and was celebrating with him, right? Because it just was one of those plays that, again, I had the Lions fans behind me. They shut up, and be honest. Zip. And it was one of those plays that's like, hey, the Dolphins guy just made a better play. It was, but I say all that say much better showing today. You could see that guys were hungry to make up for yesterday, and that's important, right? I think that's very, very important. I don't want to overreact to the joint practices, which I feel like is sometimes a tendency, right? But I think at the same time, right, it's important to see how guys react with their back up against the wall.
Absolutely.
Right? And they acted as a team that had a chip on their shoulder. And I think that's important because
so how was the run game offensively?
It wasn't that good. It was okay. It wasn't that good. Again, there was no Devon Achane. There's no Devon Achane
at all. Not individuals.
No, I didn't even see him today.
Okay.
And so it was
the Jalen Wright show.
Jalen Wright show. He had maybe one or two big runs. And by big, I want to say, let me temper that expectation. He had one first down run. Yeah.
Okay.
One that was like 7 and 8 yards, and then one that was like a first down run.
Okay.
Again, it wasn't with no two. It's always with no Achane. It's always difficult to kind of gauge the running backs, but it wasn't. Or to gauge the run game as a whole, but it wasn't. It was okay. I mean, with Zach Wilson under center, when they did some 11-on-11 in red zone, Shanklin came in. Aaron Shanklin, the new guy, came in and had what it looked like a touchdown. They said that he only got to the 2-yard line. They swapped it out, Shanklin for Mike Boone. Boone ran a screen, 2-yard touchdown, untouched.
Screen at the 2?
Yeah, at the 2. I'd never seen that play before, but it was
okay.
Look,
all right. You liked it or you didn't like it?
I mean, it was a touchdown. It don't matter if I liked it or didn't like it.
That's not answering the question. Anyway,
I don't. I think sometimes running a screen. First of all, when you're that close to pay dirt, I don't like throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. I like to go forward personally. That's a personal preference.
Okay. So obviously this is going to be a Saturday, I believe it's 1 p.m. game. Yep. What are you expecting from the Dolphins in regards to who plays and who doesn't play, and who works and who doesn't work?
So McDaniel told us earlier today that he came into today's practice thinking the starters aren't playing. Just point blank period. However, he gave a caveat. He said that, however, ultimately depends on the performance of today. So,
did they earn the day off in your mind, Isaiah Smalls?
I think they did. They did. I think they did because they showed more fight. I think they showed more fight. They showed, especially at the end of practice with that defense in the situational period. They showed more fight. They should have had a pick at the end of that, right? So I think based off of that alone, guys are already starting to be banged up. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Okay, now, so you're basically saying we'll have the Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers show, and Quinn basically hasn't had many snaps this week.
No, virtually 0 snaps this week. Yeah, and so what that will look like, remains to be seen. I think it'll be interesting. I think Zach Wilson, similar to how he looked in the game, he's not afraid to take that deep shot, and I like it. I mean, personally,
I would love for him to be able to read the field, but
I agree with you.
Or iron out those accuracy issues, but
I agree. I think when
we can't have everything.
From reviewing the film, of last week, there is a few passes that he short armed that should have been touchdowns for sure.
And because he passed short on him because his feet weren't set. Feet not set. That thing gonna spray. So it'll be interesting to see how they play. I don't disagree with you, especially after 2 days of physical practices. Clearly, the starters are getting a lot of rep. It looks like McDaniel's trying to change his approach because usually the third game is the dry run for the guys who are trying to make the team. So maybe the second game is the dry run for the guys who are trying to make the team, and the third game is going to be the audition, the dry run for the especially at home, because you kind of you can't give your final home preseason game, make that the scrub game. You can't do that.
I mean, look, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened.
All right. We do have a new offensive lineman, Jermaine Ifedi, who was Struggle City. Obviously, Struggle City in the Bears preseason game. Struggle City in practice yesterday. Suffered a season-ending injury, is now placed on IR.
Torn tricep, to be specific.
Torn tricep. Okay. Torn tricep, and Kush. What's the name of the guy who got signed? He's former. He's got experience with he's a former West Virginia standout, Miramar High product. The name escapes me, and my computer's running very slow at the present moment. So
I got it.
Yandi Kush. Well, I can't say that right.
Oh, they don't have him on the what's it called? On the
roster.
On the roster. I have my rosters over there. I'd have to grab it. Hold on.
Kusti. Actually, he played with the Patriots.
Yeah,
early draft pick of the Patriots. Former Miramar High standout, West Virginia standout. He has battled some injuries throughout his career, including last year, which basically got him waived. I think he had a shoulder last year, based on what I was reading. But he's here now. He's the 6th offensive lineman to have suffered an injury. 6 offensive linemen, and the bulk of them have been tackles, with the exception of Andrew Meyer. What can you expect from the offensive line on Saturday?
Not much. I mean, just to be frank, the backup offensive line has not looked great in general, whether you're talking about in practice, whether you're talking about in joint practice, whether you're talking about in the game. And to me, that's a cause for concern, just because offensive linemen, to me, are one of those positions that you can never have too much of, because injuries happen all the time, but specifically in a position where you are squatting essentially and banging your head up against an opposing defender, right? So I mean, what did Tua say last year? Luckily, I get the ball out quick.
Two-way
That's
plan.
what them boys gonna have to
Bad
do on
line.
Saturday.
Don't get the ball out quick. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That is Isaiah Smalls. He is there in Detroit. He's actually going to be covering the game for the Miami Herald. As you know, Dolphins in Depth. We are here just about every day. We have practice. No practice tomorrow, so we will not be back. But we will give you a post-game recap on Sunday, and hopefully it will be something that's favorable to you Dolphin fans because you have been through a lot with this franchise. So on that note, we are out, and we will see you Sunday.